10 truths about money 99% of people don't know. Welcome to 14box.com, where we help people learn to master their money. So number one bill weighs 1 gram and 454 bills equal 1 pound. This means if you have $1 million in singles, it would weigh over 1 ton. And a suitcase of $1 million in $100 bills weighs over 20 pounds. So talk about a crazy workout. I mean, just imagine someone just walking down the street and you're literally having to carry a 20-pound dumbbell, basically. Close to 80% of the U.S. currency is in $100 bills. The odd thing is you rarely see a $100 bill unless you mastered your money below. So learn the secret to mastering your money in the description. Number 2, the Federal Reserve is missing 2/3 of the $100 bills they printed. They counted up all of the $100 bills there are in banks, cash registers, etc., and found that close to only 2/3 of the $100 bills are unaccounted for. In other words, they are most likely overseas. This is why the US dollar is considered the petrodollar, because it is typically used overseas to fund, buy, etc. gas through various means. And you can use your imagination as to what we're talking about. But if you don't know, when you have a very strong military backing your dollar to basically engage with the oil industry, you could kind of figure out what's going on. Number 3, the most counterfeited denomination of money is the $20 bill. The second is the $100 bill. So in foreign countries, the US $100 bill is actually the most frequently counterfeited, which means in the US, the $20 bill is the largest one. So this is why when you go to a foreign country, you should only use a card, whether that be a debit card or a credit card, because you can easily get scammed, especially if you do not speak the language fluently. And you never want to be dealing with cash in a foreign country, because that also means that you are a pretty good candidate to basically getting kidnapped. Number 4, North Korea is the largest counterfeiter. North Korea has mastered the complicated art of counterfeiting U.S. currency, specializing in a perfect replica of the $50 and $100 bills. Their fakes are so amazing that they are referred to as super dollars and require specialized equipment at the Federal Reserve to be detected. As of 2009, an estimated $45 million worth of these fake bills have been identified. Number 5, the typical lifespan of a $1 bill is just 18 months, while the lifespan of a $100 bill is nearly 10 years. So here is a breakdown of all the denominations. 1 bill is 18 months. 5 bill is 2 years. The $10 bill is only 3 years. $20 bill is 4 years. The $50 bill is 9 years. And the $100 bill is nearly 10 years, but we'll just say 9 years. And then coins are 30 years. Number 6, money is recycled when worn out. Worn out coins are melted down and then used to make new coins. Worn out bills are shredded, recycled, and then made into roof shingles or fireplace logs. So imagine if you're like literally burning money in your fireplace. Number 7, money is dirty. We've all heard how dirty money is and how reportedly there are traces of cocaine on 90% of paper money. But did you know that money is literally dirtier than a toilet? Which is pretty crazy when you really think about it, because anyone that has a dog, they know that toilets are dirty, and dogs don't care and will also drink from a toilet. So how about the fact that the flu virus can also live on a bill for up to 17 days? So stop putting money in your mouth when in a hurry at the checkout line. But let's be honest, we've probably put worse things in our mouths. Number 8, the Secret Service was originally made to fight counterfeiting and not protecting the President of the United States. So in July of 1865, the U.S. Secret Service was created during the Civil War to fight counterfeiting. Counterfeiting was a huge problem back then, and by the end of the war, between 1/3 and half of all U.S. paper currency in circulation was counterfeit. Number 9, Germans used money as wallpaper. After World War I, hyperinflation wreaked havoc on the German currency, causing it to lose almost all of its value. As a result, people would give money to kids to play with, and many people used it as wallpaper. Or even worse, toilet paper. Number 10, only 8% of the world's currency is actual physical money. No, the rest isn't crypto. The majority of transactions are all done digitally, so no physical currency exchanges hands. Think about how often you pay for things with your credit or debit card or online using PayPal, for example. This is why only 8% of currency is physical money. Now, this is also another thing that you got to understand. Like, for example, let's say that you have a large amount of money inside your bank account. You cannot just go to your bank account, like to your physical location of your bank, and be like, hey, let's just say like you have like $1 million in your bank account, like in a savings account for some odd reason, right? And you're like, hey, I want to withdraw all of my money. You will not actually be allowed to do that because they would not have that amount of cash inside their bank. Because the majority of banks only hold like a very small percentage of the money that's actually technically circulating inside their account, well, inside their whole infrastructure, because they basically lend all the money out, right? Like I believe like the laws with it is just super odd, but it's basically set up to where banks are allowed to pretty much leverage all the money that comes in at like 80 or 90%. So they could pretty much only hold, like they only have to technically hold about like, you know, like 10% of all the money that they collect in all of their accounts. And the federal bank, well, the Federal Reserve will technically, you know, back them up to that $250,000 per account value situation. So just keep that in mind. I mean, like banks can literally just get rid of money by simply just clicking delete on, you know, their keyboard. Like that's how crazy it really is. The whole banking system is that like they can literally just type in something by accident and oh, there you go. Now you get like $1 million in your account. And then they could just type a few things like, oh, sorry, all of your money's gone, right? So that's something to really think about, that like money is really only good in the sense that as long as the majority of the population views it as viable, it will be viable. But as soon as more than half of the population believes that the money is not viable, that's when things end up crashing and being completely horrendous, right? This is the same situation that happened back in like the whole banking crisis, where everybody tried to rush to the banks to try to get all their money out, but they couldn't get all their money out because none of the banks actually had any of their money. And so people lost faith and it was just absolutely nuts. Feel free to watch more money lessons, top 10 lessons, all that kind of stuff. Check out 40inbox.com, and you can learn the secret to mastering money below, and you can learn to make money online.